Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into Growth by Design by Jackson Yamwanga.
Okay.
And I know this is a book you're pretty interested in.
Yeah.
You want to learn more about this whole idea of personal growth and success,
Uh-huh.
especially, how that intertwines with your faith.
Yeah.
And I think this book is going to be a really good fit for us today.
Cool.
This book is absolutely packed with some really exciting concepts, things like, environment and hidden potential and multiplication.
Wow.
And I can't wait to really unpack these ideas with you.
Yeah, me too.
And to help us kind of, wade through all this, we've got an expert in faith-based personal development joining us,
Great.
who's always been fascinated by applying biblical principles to modern life.
It's great to be here.
So one of the most striking things that Yamwanga does in this book is he uses this analogy of a seed and its environment
Right.
to explain personal growth.
Yeah.
What do you think makes this analogy so powerful?
Well, I think it's powerful because it really takes this abstract concept like personal growth,
Yes.
and makes it tangible.
Yeah.
We all know what a seed needs to sprout and thrive.
Mm,
Good soil, sunlight, water, that kind of thing.
yeah.
It's the same for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need a supportive environment for our talents and
Yeah.
potential to truly flourish.
Absolutely. And he doesn't shy away from that flip side either.
Yeah.
He talks about the impact of a toxic environment.
Right.
And I mean, we've all experienced it.
Yeah.
Those negative relationships that just drain our energy, or, those workplaces that just stifle our creativity.
Yeah, totally.
What do you think about that?
Well, he refers to these elements as these weeds in our garden.
Oh, okay.
And they can be so subtle sometimes,
Yeah.
They can be disguised as helpful advice or, constructive criticism.
Right.
But the effect is the same.
Yeah.
They really choke out our potential,
They steal the nutrients.
just like weeds steal nutrients from plants.
Oh, wow.
And he even connects this back to a verse from the Bible.
Okay.
1 Corinthians 15:33.
Mm-hmm.
It says, bad company corrupts good character.
I've always thought about that verse in terms of, who I hang out with.
Right?
But, applying it to, my broader environment, even my digital spaces,
Yeah.
that's kind of eye-opening.
Absolutely. It's a call to be mindful of what we're allowing to influence our thinking and our actions.
So true. Now, Nyamwanga doesn't just leave us with this doom and gloom of, toxic environments, right?
Right.
He talks about this concept of a divine environment,
Yes,
which sounds pretty amazing.
it does.
But what does that actually mean?
Well, it's really about aligning ourselves with God's purpose for our lives
Okay.
and being in tune with his presence.
Okay.
He actually describes it as a state of effortless achievement,
Effortless achievement.
which might sound a little far-fetched.
Yeah.
But think about it. When we're following our true calling,
Mm-hmm.
working in our strengths,
Yeah.
our efforts really do feel less like striving and more like just flowing with a natural current.
Yes, I've definitely had glimpses of that
Yeah.
in my own life.
Cool.
Those moments where work doesn't feel like work?
Right?
It's just this energized focus.
Exactly.
It's like I'm in the zone.
You're in the flow.
Yeah, totally.
He uses the example of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden.
Okay.
Before the fall, they lived in this state of effortless achievement
Okay.
because they were in perfect harmony with God.
Interesting.
Their needs were met, their work was joyful,
Wow.
their connection to their source was unbroken.
So their separation from the garden kind of symbolizes what happens when we disconnect from that source?
That's how he interprets it.
Okay.
When we lose sight of our purpose,
Mhm.
when we lose that connection to God,
Yeah.
it's like trying to grow a plant without sunlight.
Hmm.
We might survive,
Yeah.
but we're not going to thrive.
Right. So, practically speaking, how do we create that divine environment for ourselves?
Yeah, that's the big question.
Is it about, physically changing our surroundings,
Cool.
or is it more internal?
It's both, actually.
Okay.
Yamwanga emphasizes the importance of continually evaluating our current environments.
Okay.
Who are we spending time with?
Mm-hmm.
What messages are we consuming?
Yeah.
What activities are filling our days?
Right.
Are these influences drawing us closer to God
Okay.
and closer to our true purpose?
So it's like taking stock of the soil we're planted in
Exactly.
and making sure that it's fertile and
Right.
free of those growth-stunting weeds.
Yes, but it's also about actively cultivating positive influences,
Okay.
building relationships with people who uplift us,
Right.
seeking out mentors, immersing ourselves in inspiring content,
Yeah.
and most importantly, deepening our connection with God through prayer, study, and service.
So it's not just about avoiding the bad stuff.
Right.
It's about actively seeking out the good.
Yes.
That makes a lot of sense.
It does.
And it nicely sets the stage for another big idea that Nyamwanga explores.
Okay.
And that is this whole idea of hidden potential.
Yes.
He suggests that everyone has a seed of greatness within them, even if it's not immediately obvious.
Right.
What do you think about that?
I think that's such an encouraging thought.
Yeah.
It's like he reminds us that God often conceals our potential until the right moment. And not to punish us,
Okay.
but to prepare us.
So we're not necessarily supposed to have it all figured out from the start.
Right.
It's okay to feel like our seed is still buried.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He uses the example of Gideon,
Okay.
who was terrified when God called him a mighty warrior.
Oh, yeah.
Gideon was hiding in a wine press feeling completely inadequate.
Wow.
And yet God saw his potential even when he couldn't see it himself.
That's incredibly comforting.
Yeah.
Especially when we,
Right.
look around and we see other people who have seemingly bloomed faster than us. And you're like, what am I doing wrong?
Exactly. It's not a competition.
Yeah.
It's about trusting in God's timing.
Right.
And he also points to Joseph,
Okay.
whose journey through slavery and imprisonment seems like the opposite of a success story, right?
It's tough to see potential in those circumstances.
Yeah, but God had a plan.
Wow.
Those dark places became Joseph's training ground.
Okay.
They refined his character,
Mhm.
and they prepared him for that incredible role
Right.
that he would play in saving Egypt from famine.
So instead of viewing those difficult seasons as setbacks
Right.
or as proof that we're not good enough,
Yeah.
we should see them as opportunities for growth,
Yes.
for refining that hidden potential.
He encourages us to trust in God's timing,
Mm-hmm.
to keep cultivating our gifts,
Yeah.
even when we don't see immediate results.
Right.
And he connects this back to the parable of the talents.
Okay.
God expects us to use and grow what he's given us,
Okay.
not bury it out of fear or insecurity.
And what really resonates with me is that he doesn't shy away from the fact that this growth process often involves challenges.
Right.
He even dedicates a whole chapter
Yes.
to the concept of growth through challenges.
Mhm.
So why do you think he emphasizes that so much?
Well, he uses that seed analogy again,
Okay.
comparing our challenges to the darkness that a seed experiences before it sprouts.
Okay.
It's a reminder that we often have to go through these periods of difficulty,
Yeah.
of testing,
Mm-hmm.
before we can reach our full potential.
That's a powerful reframing of challenges.
Yeah.
Seeing them not as setbacks,
Right.
but as part of the process.
It's necessary.
Yeah, like without that period of darkness,
Yeah.
the seed wouldn't have the energy to push through the soil and reach the light.
Exactly. He really reiterates the importance of Joseph's story here.
Okay.
Betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, imprisoned.
Wow.
But those dark places shaped his character,
Yeah.
taught him valuable lessons,
Mm-hmm.
and ultimately positioned him to save countless lives.
So even when things feel bleak,
Mm-hmm.
there's this incredible potential
Yes.
just waiting to be unlocked.
He emphasizes the need to maintain a humble posture,
Okay.
to trust in God's process even when we don't understand it.
That's so hard.
It is.
But it's so important.
It is.
And to remember that those struggles are not in vain.
They're not.
So we've covered a lot so far.
We have.
We talked about setting the stage for growth, the importance of environment,
Yeah.
recognizing our potential even when it's hidden,
Yeah.
and viewing challenges as opportunities.
Right.
It feels like all of these concepts are laying the groundwork for something even bigger.
I think you're right.
What do you think?
And that's where the power of multiplication comes in.
That's what I was thinking.
It feels like the culmination of everything we've discussed so far.
Okay, so tell me more about this.
When Nyamwanga introduces this principle by revisiting the parable of the talents, this time he emphasizes how it highlights the importance of using our gifts not just for personal success, but for creating a positive impact and leaving a legacy.
So it's not just about getting ahead ourselves, it's
Right.
about using our talents to benefit others.
Exactly.
That sounds a lot like that divine environment we discussed earlier.
It does.
It's all connected.
It's all connected. It's about multiplying the good,
Okay.
extending our reach beyond our own lives.
Mm-hmm.
It's about understanding that true success is about contributing to something larger than ourselves.
How does that apply to our everyday lives?
Well,
Like, does he give any practical examples?
he does. He talks about investing in others,
Okay.
mentoring, teaching, and sharing our knowledge and resources.
So it's about looking beyond our own needs and seeing how our talents can be used to uplift and empower others.
Exactly.
It's interesting how he uses like business case studies to illustrate this.
Right.
I wouldn't have immediately connected Coca-Cola and KFC to a book about faith and personal growth.
It is kind of unexpected,
Yeah.
but he points out how they have successfully multiplied their value
Okay.
to achieve global market dominance.
Wow.
You know, they've created systems, brands, legacies
Right.
that continue to grow and expand.
So it's not just about creating a product, it's about creating something that has a lasting impact,
And-
something that continues to multiply even after we're gone.
It's like that ripple effect.
Yeah.
You know, our actions, especially when they're focused on multiplying good, can impact far beyond our immediate circle.
I love that.
You know, it can be as simple as sharing a kind word,
Mm-hmm.
offering a helping hand,
Yeah.
or using our talents to make someone's life a little bit better.
That's such an empowering thought,
It is.
that even small actions, when done with the right intentions,
Right.
can have a huge impact on the world.
It's about shifting our focus from what's in it for me to how can I use my gifts to make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
That's where true fulfillment lies.
I love how Nyamwanga weaves together these principles of environment
Mm.
and potential and multiplication.
Yeah.
They really do build on each other,
They do.
creating this powerful framework for growth.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is, and we've only just scratched the surface.
I know it, right?
There's so much more to unpack.
We'll save it for next time.
You're right. We will continue this deep dive next time. But before we go, I'm curious, what's one thing that stood out to you
Okay.
from this first part of our exploration?
You know what struck me was how accessible this book is.
Okay.
It's grounded in faith, yes,
Mm-hmm.
but the principles
Well,
are so universal.
right.
You know, whether you're an entrepreneur
Yeah.
or a stay-at-home parent
Mm-hmm.
or a student, these concepts can be applied to any area of life.
That's great.
It's really exciting.
Yeah, it is. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Last time we were really digging into Jackton Nyamwanga's Growth by Design, and we were really, focusing on setting the stage for growth. So I'm excited to kind of continue our conversation
me too.
and see where it leads us.
It's fascinating how all these principles connect, you know?
Yeah, exactly. We talked about environment,
Okay.
hidden potential
Sure.
challenges, and the power of multiplication.
Right.
And it feels like we've laid this solid foundation.
Yeah.
But now I'm kind of curious to explore how innovation and creativity fit into this whole framework.
That's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Nyamwanga, he uses the seed analogy again,
Okay.
but this time to represent innovative ideas.
Interesting.
He suggests that every innovative thought,
Mm-hmm.
no matter how small or insignificant it may seem at first,
Okay.
has the potential to grow into something remarkable.
It's like those tiny mustard seeds,
Yeah.
the ones that Jesus talked about, that grow into huge trees.
That's the perfect example.
Yeah.
Nyamwanga emphasizes that just as a seed needs the right environment and nourishment to thrive,
Right.
our innovative ideas need the right conditions to develop and flourish.
Okay, so what are those conditions? What kind of soil do our creative ideas need? I'm all ears.
He breaks it down into several factors.
Okay.
First, he emphasizes the importance of recognizing creativity as a divine gift.
Okay.
You know, he references Genesis 1.27,
Mm-hmm.
where it says we're made in the image of a creative God.
Right.
It's a powerful reminder that creativity isn't just for artists or inventors.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of our very nature.
It's like we're hardwired for it.
We are.
But so often we get bogged down by self-doubt or fear of failure.
Exactly. And that's why Nyamwanga encourages us to embrace this truth,
Okay.
that we are all inherently creative.
Hmm.
You know, it's not about comparing ourselves to others
Right.
or striving to be the next Picasso.
Yeah.
It's about tapping into that divine spark within us,
Okay.
whatever form that takes.
So knowing we have the potential for creativity and actually bringing those ideas to life,
Yeah.
those are two different things.
They are.
So how do we nurture those creative seeds
What?
and cultivate that divine garden of innovation?
Well, he offers some really practical steps. First, he talks about the importance of research. Just like a seed needs the right soil conditions,
Right.
our ideas need to be grounded in an understanding of the world around us.
So it's not just about having a light bulb moment.
Right.
It's about doing the legwork
Yeah.
to see if that idea has legs, so to speak.
Exactly. And that leads to the next step,
Okay.
getting feedback.
Okay.
This is crucial.
Okay.
He encourages us to share our ideas with trusted friends,
Mm-hmm.
mentors, or even potential customers
Right.
and get their input.
You know, that can be scary.
It can be.
It's like putting your baby out there for critique.
I know.
What if people don't get it?
It's definitely vulnerable,
Yeah.
but it's also where the growth happens.
Okay.
We can be so close to our own ideas that we miss these blind spots or areas for improvement.
Yeah.
Feedback helps us to refine our thinking and make our ideas stronger.
Okay.
And he even reminds us that even Jesus, during his ministry,
Mm.
often asked questions and sought feedback from his disciples.
Oh, wow.
It was a way for them to learn and grow together.
That's a great point.
Yeah,
It's not a sign of weakness to ask for help or input.
right?
It shows a willingness to learn
Exactly.
and to refine our thinking.
Yeah.
So once we've gathered feedback,
Okay.
then it's time to create a strategic plan.
Right.
So that's where the rubber meets the road.
Exactly. It's about setting goals,
Okay.
identifying resources,
Mm-hmm.
creating a timeline,
Yeah.
and essentially transforming that vision into a roadmap for action.
That makes a lot of sense.
It does.
Without a plan, it's easy to get overwhelmed or sidetracked.
Think of it this way.
Okay.
If you're going on a road trip, you don't just hop in the car and start driving.
No.
You plan your route. You pack supplies.
Right.
And make sure your car is in good shape.
Right.
The same principle applies to bringing innovative ideas to life.
So that strategic plan is like our GPS for innovation,
Big time.
guiding us toward our destination. I love that analogy.
He also emphasizes the importance of prototyping and testing.
Okay. Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Yeah, it's about moving beyond the realm of thought
Okay.
and creating something tangible,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's just a rough draft.
So if I have an idea for a new product, I should try to actually build it,
Yeah.
even if it's just a basic prototype.
Exactly.
Okay.
The process of prototyping often reveals flaws or challenges
Right.
that we wouldn't have anticipated just by thinking about the idea.
So it's like a trial run,
Yes.
a chance to work out the kinks before going all in.
And once you have a prototype,
Okay.
it's time to test it out.
Okay.
Get it in front of potential users, gather feedback, and see how it works in the real world.
It's like taking that road trip and realizing halfway through that you forgot your map.
Exactly. He reminds us that innovation is an ongoing process.
Right.
It's about being willing to iterate, to adapt,
Yeah.
to make changes based on feedback.
It's about embracing the journey.
Yes.
Not just focusing on the destination.
Right now, even with the best idea and a solid plan,
Okay.
there's still the question of how to get that innovation out into the world.
Right.
And that's where marketing and distribution come in.
It's not enough to have a great idea.
No?
We have to tell people about it.
He talks about crafting a compelling message,
Okay?
choosing the right channels to reach our target audience,
Mm-hmm.
and creating engaging content
Right.
that really showcases the value of our innovation.
So we need to be storytellers too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because even the most brilliant innovation won't make a difference if no one knows about it.
Right.
We need to connect with people on an emotional level.
Yeah.
Help them understand why this innovation matters,
Mm-hmm.
how it can benefit their lives.
So it's not just about features and benefits.
Yeah.
It's about communicating the value and the impact.
And then there's the distribution piece,
Okay.
actually getting our product or service into the hands of our customers.
Like building a bridge between our idea
Yes.
and the people who need it.
He suggests evaluating different distribution options,
What?
setting up logistics,
Mhm.
establishing partnerships,
Yeah.
and creating a system that ensures our innovation reaches its intended audience.
So are there any biblical examples?
Yes. He reminds us that even Jesus, after his resurrection,
Okay.
spent time equipping his disciples and creating a system for spreading the good news.
Right.
It wasn't just about him.
Okay.
It was about creating a lasting impact that would extend far beyond his own lifetime.
That's a beautiful way to connect it back to faith.
Yeah,
It's about empowering others to carry the torch.
exactly. It's about recognizing that we're all part of something bigger than ourselves.
Hmm.
And our actions, especially when focused on multiplying good, can have a profound impact on the world.
This whole exploration of innovation and creativity has been truly inspiring.
It has.
I love how Nyamwanga uses the simple analogy of a seed
Yeah.
to illustrate such a complex and dynamic process.
And it's such an encouraging reminder
Yeah.
that creativity isn't just for a select few.
Right.
It's a gift that God has given to all of us.
Absolutely. And when we embrace that gift
Mm.
and nurture those creative seeds
Right.
and trust in God's guidance,
Yeah.
that's when we can truly make a difference in the world.
That's when the magic happens.
So we've covered a lot of ground today,
Well, yeah,
from the conditions for creativity to the importance of marketing and distribution.
Right.
It's amazing how all these concepts build upon each other,
They do.
creating this holistic framework for growth and innovation.
Before we wrap up part 2,
Yeah.
I'm curious what stands out to you most from this discussion about innovation and creativity.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're wrapping up our exploration of Growth by Design by Jacton Nyamwanga.
Yeah.
And this book has really made me think about faith and personal growth.
Right.
You know how they go hand in hand?
Yeah.
What I find really fascinating is how Nyamwanga uses these biblical examples to bring these principles to life. It's not just theory.
Yeah.
It's grounded in these stories of people who faced real challenges and achieved amazing things.
Those stories offer so much wisdom and inspiration.
I do.
One that comes to mind is the story of Bezalel and Oholiab,
Okay.
the craftsmen who were chosen by God to build the tabernacle.
Oh, yeah.
They were filled with the Spirit of God,
Right.
given this extraordinary skill and creativity to create something truly awe-inspiring.
So they were like the original innovators.
Yeah, divinely inspired,
Yeah,
to build something so significant.
Their story reminds us that God really equips us for the tasks he calls us to.
Yeah.
He provides the talents and the abilities we need to fulfill his purpose. It's a powerful reminder that we don't have to do it all on our own.
We don't.
And then there's Joseph,
Yes.
who used his strategic insight to help Egypt survive that famine.
Right. Talk about turning a challenge into an opportunity.
It makes you wonder if those challenges were actually crucial to his development.
That's a great point.
Like if he hadn't faced those trials,
Yeah.
would he have been as prepared
Right.
for the role he ultimately played?
That makes me think about how those dark places often become our greatest teachers. They refine our character, they strengthen our resolve,
Right.
and they equip us with the skills and wisdom we need to make a difference in the world.
His ability to interpret dreams
Right.
and develop that plan for storing grain.
Yes.
That's next level innovation.
It is.
It wasn't just about survival. It
Right.
was about creating a system
Yeah.
that would benefit the whole nation.
And it highlights the importance of being good stewards
Okay.
of the resources that we're given, whether those resources are time,
Yes.
talents, or material possessions.
So Joseph didn't hoard the grain for himself.
Right.
He used it to bless others.
Exactly.
Now, I'm curious about King Solomon.
Okay.
He's known for his wisdom, right?
Yeah.
But was he really an innovator?
Absolutely. Nyamwanga points out how Solomon used his wisdom to govern wisely,
Okay.
to build a prosperous kingdom,
Mhm.
and to make innovative decisions
Okay.
in areas like diplomacy and trade.
Okay.
He fostered relationships with other nations,
Right.
expanded trade routes,
Mhm.
and created this thriving economy.
So it wasn't just about being smart. It was about applying that wisdom in practical ways
Yeah.
that benefited his people and his kingdom.
His story really challenges our assumptions
Okay.
about what it means to be innovative.
Okay.
It's not always about inventing something new. It's
Yeah.
often about finding creative solutions to existing problems, building bridges and fostering collaboration.
That makes me think about the story of the widow's oil,
Okay.
where the prophet Elisha miraculously multiplied her small amount of oil
Yes.
so she could pay off her debts.
That's such a powerful story of God's provision and abundance.
Yeah.
It reminds us that even when we feel like we have very little, God can multiply our efforts and resources in extraordinary ways.
It also reminds us that sometimes those seeds of greatness are hidden in the ordinary,
Yeah.
in the seemingly insignificant things.
Right.
And it's about having faith that God can use even the smallest act of obedience to create something remarkable.
Connecting all these stories back to the bigger picture.
Yeah.
The key takeaway is this.
Okay.
God is the ultimate source of creativity and innovation. He's the one who plants those seeds of greatness within us.
Right.
And he provides the resources and guidance we need to cultivate them.
So it's like we're co-creators with God,
Yes.
working alongside him to bring his plans to fruition.
It's a beautiful way to put it.
It's about recognizing that we have a divine purpose to fulfill,
Right.
and our role is to embrace that purpose, to use our gifts and talents to make a difference.
As we wrap up this deep dive into growth by design,
Yeah.
what's the one thing you hope our listener will take away from this book and our conversation?
I think the one thing I hope they'll remember is that they have a seed of greatness within them,
Yes.
planted by a loving God.
Right.
Don't underestimate your potential.
Don't let fear hold you back.
Embrace your God-given gifts.
Cultivate them and watch them grow into something truly remarkable.
And remember, growth is a journey,
Yeah.
not a destination.
It's about embracing the process.
Learning from our challenges.
Trusting in God's guidance every step of the way.
And don't forget to multiply the good.
Invest in others. Share your knowledge.
Create a legacy that extends far beyond your own lifetime.
That's what true success is all about.
This has been such an inspiring conversation. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into growth by design.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you've been encouraged and challenged
Yes.
to embrace your full potential.
And to live a life of purpose, impact, and multiplication.
Thanks for listening.